Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. As always, just a quick disclaimer, I want to let you all know that since YouTube censors content on its platform, if you want to see these videos, please do sub and hit that bell, as it is the only way to receive videos in your feed. Now that that's out of the way, let us begin. And I already know what you guys are thinking, just from looking at that title. But TCD, education is important. We need education, my good friend. I understand what you're implying just by thinking that way. But no one's arguing with that. What I'm here to talk about is the way that education is presented within schooling across the world. So once again, your education itself is not limited to any building or book, okay? You learn for as long as you live based on experiences, past mistakes, and even just plain observations. So it would be a great disservice to pretend as if learning is not important and doesn't play a role in life. But what I'm going to talk about in this video is the type of learning, air quotes, if you could call it that, that's going on in schools all over the world right now. So to start off, we established the importance of education, and once again, I'm not telling you not to pay attention or anything when you're in school. In fact, within these videos, I really want you, no matter where you are in your stage of life, to look at school and ask something. Was I really learning, or am I really learning there, or am I being indoctrinated unknowingly? Now, before anyone assumes that this is a conspiracy theory, seriously, at the age when attending elementary school, let's just think for a second. We're usually taught that if something is in a book written by someone with a PhD, it must be true. No? I, for one, experienced this when I would ask how this is true and would often be met with the response that a great scientist or a great PhD or a doctor wrote this, so it has to be true, essentially. That was what they would tell me, which was telling me at a young age, like I'm a sponge, I'm taking in knowledge. Everything that comes out of a scientist's mouth must be the truth. They are not capable of lying, as that PhD they tote around surely stops the human ability using their vocal cords to say something that is not true. We time lapse a bit into high school, and it's no surprise that most people usually will become arrogant at this stage and uppity, claiming that we have embraced intellectualism, when in reality all we've been taught is that I trust what the researchers say. Whether you want to admit that or not is something, once again, that you'll have to wrestle with yourself, but that's the truth. I trust what the researchers say. They use facts, and there's no possible way for them to lie about anything. They have no reason to, as far as we can see in our heads. So this group of people today are considered the most informed and educated alive in history because of the internet and the information that we have access to due to the internet. But again, I ask, by whom are you educated? Yourself, or by people claiming to be experts? Yes, and I said it, claiming to be experts, knowing what's best for you. This is something most people don't even think about as they move on to college and the highest forms of education. As far as I am concerned, we should not solely rely on what another person, said for confirmation about something. If most people today are claiming to be intellectuals, yet are faithfully believing what someone with a PhD said, all it sounds to me are people professing to be wise, becoming foolish, and a fool hath no delight in understanding, that his heart may discover itself. These same people claiming to be so smart are absolutely terrified of the possibility of questioning people who have been influencing their education and learning since they were children. Because if what they are saying was false, the entire time they've been playing intellectual and the entire time they've been playing smart would have been for naught. You see, as far as I'm concerned, and what I can testify of as someone who has completed school, at least to the high school level, the education industry is just a brainwashing industry. It's just a brainwashing industry. We're told at a young age, as long as a person with a PhD wrote it, or researched it, it must be true. It's no surprise that people would not look into things themselves nearly as much when they were taught to listen to someone else all their life. I don't know how many people are out there maybe in college listening to this, but like seriously, think about it. What you're usually saying that you're into and what you believe, because that's usually a very, very uppity, arrogant group of people when they're in college and stuff. They're like, oh, I'm in college, so I'm going with researchers and PhDs and facts. But once again, like, are you really looking into this yourself, or are you just trusting them? You're just trusting them because of their title. We as people should pursue our own answers and break free from this reliance on other people with just some title, because that's all a PhD is. That's all a scientist, when they want to put that in front of their name. That's all it is. It's a title. It's a title. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care what title you got. That doesn't give you any more credibility. That doesn't take away from your ability to tell a lie or to be influenced emotionally by something. If you would simply look into the amount of people who were at once considered university professors but got fired because they went against the status quo at universities and said, I don't necessarily agree with that theory, and they taught against it, and they got fired. So you're telling me that this person with a PhD is incapable of becoming emotional and screwing someone over because they disagreed with their opinion? A PhD, any title, doctorate, what the heck ever you've got in front of your name, that doesn't give you any more credibility. It doesn't. And the issue right now that we have is that these kids going to school, and even adults, like up to their freaking old age, have absolute trust in what another person said just because of a title. There's this stupid belief going on in today's society that what this person said because of what's in front of their name has to be true. And it starts young, and they keep teaching you that all the way up to your college years or whatever year you want to continue on afterwards. That must be true. It's just institutionalized doctrine that they force upon you at your young years all the way up to your adult life. So of course you're going to grow up believing that, oh, they said it has to be true. It's no wonder why people, when just going onto the internet, they try and find what a scientist said or what a researcher said, and they're like, okay, that has to be true. Oh, but studies, TCD, but studies say, yeah, you see, I get it. I'm not trying to say that they are wrong all the time, but this absolute trust in what they say because of their title, that's the issue here. We have less and less people actually trying to look into things themselves. They're just trusting what someone else says. I'm here to tell you that, listen, what that lab coat says, I know I say that as a joke, but what that lab coat says isn't always the truth, man. What that lab coat says isn't always just influenced by facts. Sometimes it's influenced by emotions. Sometimes it's influenced by perspective. Sometimes it's influenced by what happened to them when they were younger. That's the truth. It would be foolish to assume that that no one is influenced by things that have happened to them throughout their lives. You know? So, what I'm trying to tell you right now, guys, is a title does not make someone more credible, okay? We need to stop buying into this doctrine that because it was written by someone with a PhD or any kind of title in front of their name, everything that comes out of their mouth has to be the truth. We should question everything, not just things you're uncomfortable with, but the things you're comfortable with as well, because that's something I'm probably going to make another video about, called bubble skepticism. This whole bubble skepticism going around where people are like, oh, I'm a skeptic. I'm not just going to believe anything that sounds ludicrous, but what about the things that you're comfortable with believing? You sure you're a skeptic? You've just bought into this. Oh, this is your bubble. Everything you've bought into, that's your bubble, and you're never going to question that, but everything outside of that bubble, you're going to question. You're not a skeptic, you're a bubble skeptic, is what you are. Well, that's getting off topic. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is, please, please, seriously, if you're in school or wherever you are in life, question what's going on, because they've just got you eating institutionalized garbage. And don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to be uppity or anything. I was eating it too. It took me a while after I got out of school to wake up to the bull crap that I was consuming, just because I was taught to trust this guy because he's got doctor in front of his name, so everything that comes out of his mouth has to be true. Oh, he's a scientist, so he's never capable of being influenced by emotions. I was taught just like you to believe that. So I'm just trying to wake people up to what's going on in the schooling industry, in the education industry. I really want people to wake up to this. So please stop chewing the garbage that they're feeding you. Just wake up and look at things yourself. And I can tell you from experience that after finding this out and doing just a bit of digging, the history that's changed over time and the air quote research that has been influenced by emotions and stuff is staggering. And it's quite depressing to see just how brainwashed I was and we are, and even now, in some cases, that we're still capable of being. This absolute reliance on other people instead of trying to look into things and learn things ourselves. It's quite saddening seeing what it can do to us. So with that being said, that's going to be the end of this video. I know that this is something a bit different and it's kind of out of nowhere, but seriously, in this series, I plan on doing my best to wake people up to things that are going on about life and that people aren't talking about, because you're not really going to see people talking about questioning scientists and PhDs and doctorals, because that goes against all the ways that they get their information, right? We can't question them. We can question them when they say things that we don't agree with because that makes us uncomfortable, but things that we're comfortable with, oh, we can't question them. But I'm here to pop the bubbles and I'm here to wake people up, and that's what I intend on doing in this series. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Rate the video what you think it deserves, tell me what you would like to see in the future in the comments below. Feel free to check out my amino linked in the comments, and I will see all of you in the next one. Take care.